Okay, so today we're going to have a look at how to go about measuring windows for fitting window furnishings of different varieties. Believe it or not, most windows are actually not square, and that means that you have to take into consideration where it's out of square and make some adjustments accordingly. And the other thing about fitting inside the window frame or in the reveal is you need to make sure that there's nothing inside the reveal space that's going to get in the way of the operation of the window furnishing that you're going to put in there. So that's things like mulligans in windows or door handles, window handles, keys in doors and that kind of thing. This opening has a Roman blind on it, so with a Roman blind, one of the things about a Roman blind is the headboard at the top of the blind is the same width as the fabric and the bottom of the blind all the way down. So that means if your window happens to be narrower at the bottom than what it is at the top, then you need to make sure that you make the blind to suit the narrowest part of the opening. With the length of the blind, it's the opposite. If the window is longer on one side than the other, then generally you would use the longer side. Now it also means that you need to be measuring the blinds, measuring the window opening in different places to make sure that you've got an overall idea of what those measurements are. So I use one of these Fat Max tape measures, which is pretty common that a lot of window furnishing people use. So in the window furnishing business, it's always width first and drop second. So we're going to measure this window in a couple of places for the width, and we're going to use the narrowest measurement. And again, you're just taking the measurements top, middle and bottom and using the smallest measurement, which in this case is 945mm. And now we're going to do the same thing with the drop, going from left, middle and right. Put the tape measure on the bottom and read it at the top. Depending on how tall you are, sometimes it works for people to put the tape measure at the top, the bottom, the end of the tape measure at the top and measure down to the bottom. Either way, you're still in this case you're looking for the longest measurement. So this drop, the longest drop here is 1310. So that's our opening size. Now with Roman blinds, or most blinds in fact, you can't make the blind the same size as the opening of the window. You need to make a deduction off generally the width and more often than not the drop. So with a Roman blind, the industry deduction standard is 10mm overall. So whatever the width of this is, we'd take 10mm off the width, and that's what we would call the make size of the blind, or the size that you would order the blind at. And with the Roman blind, when you put it down, you can either have it resting on the sill or you can have it sitting off the sill a little bit. And again, you would make an adjustment to your drop measurement to suit where you want the bottom of the blind. I think most people in my experience with Roman blinds, prefer to have the blind sitting on the sill, and that way when it's down, it's blocking more light and keeping more cold air out. And that's how you do the Roman blind. Now, you probably want to have a little think about which side you want the chain on. Often in bedrooms, the chain will go on the side of the blind that's closest to the door because it's an easy direct route to walk in and operate the blind. It's a judgment call, that one, so just have a little think about it and go from there.